Hello everyone and welcome back inside UCCU Ballpark for our first semifinals matchup between the American Fork Cavemen and the Riverton Silverwolves. I'm JT Wistersill, excited to be with you for this game. American Fork defeated Westlake and then Syracuse yesterday to land as the remaining team in our lower bracket in the winner's bracket still. This one's fouled off by Mascaro, the leadoff hitter. A little bit of an early start for the first time in our tournament this season. It'll be Mascaro batting first with Ryder Robinson batting second as a designated hitter. Josh Rojas will bat third. Dax Watts batting fourth. Cooper Jones batting fifth. Jet Walker in the sixth hole. Perry Coleman batting seventh. Gavin Schoonover batting eighth with Davin Pace batting in ninth. And Polson, as that one's fouled off, rounding out the order. Then in the field for the Silverwolves, it's going to be Remington Robinson pitching. Caden Allred at the catcher spot. Alex Vernon at first. Zulo at second. At third will be Pearsall, the shortstop. Mazingo. In left field, it'll be Hicks. Center field will be Hanson, and right field, Moody. 2-2 the count. These two teams reached the state championship last year and faced off against one another. It's the first time this season they've met in our tournament. They did play once in the regular season. American Fork bested the Silverwolves 17-9 in that contest. But that all the way back on March 30th. Now, this contest coming nearly 2 months after that one. So these two completely different teams. And Remington Robbins reaches full count with C.J. Mascaro, the first batter he's facing. Mascaro drives one straight up in the air. Waiting on it to be collected. And it is. Tracking it in the sun over on third base is Pearsall. So Mascaro is retired. Then I'll bring up Robinson in a moment. Robinson, the DH. Fouls one back. Riverton reached this point in the season in this game. They fell to Syracuse in the first game of bracket play 7-6, but bested Westlake 4-3 before going on to beat Syracuse in a second elimination game after American Fork beat Syracuse in yesterday's action 5-4 to advance and end the Cinderella run for the Titans. Oh, 2 the count early. 1 out. Outside delivery there for ball one. This ball driven, but somehow caught. What a miraculous grab made by Robinson on the mound, who somehow quickly turned back and caught it in his glove. It looked like it was going to go right past him. The rocketed line drive retired after Remington Robbins takes care of Ryder Robinson. So Josh Rojas now due up. Rojas, the pitcher in this contest, getting the start for American Fork as they look to reach the state championship game. 2 outs now. As Rojas lifts this one into right field, waiting on it, and making the grab. Over in right field is Moody. So Moody brings it in, and that'll take us to the bottom of the first on KSL Sports Rewind. It was 3 up, 3 down just as quickly to begin play in the top of the first. And now Riverton back on the offensive. Josh Rojas, who just flew out to right field, gets a start on the mound. Polson at catcher. Coleman Perry at first. Cooper Jones at second. Gavin Schoonover over on third. Jet Walker at short. Dax Watson left field. C.J. Mascaro in center field. And Davin Pace in right field. The Silverwolves batting order goes as follows. Caden Allred will be the leadoff hitter, followed by Zach Edwards. Drake Pearsall will bat third. Alex Vernon in the cleanup spot. Dylan Zulo follows him with Carson Moody batting sixth. Remington Robinson batting seventh. Cooper Hansen will bat eighth. And Easton Hicks rounds out the order batting ninth. The stakes in this game are as follows. American Fork win, and they are in the state championship. It would be the second consecutive state championship for the American Fork Cavemen that they've reached. They beat American Fork and Riverton met in last year's state championship game. American Fork won the first game, but then Riverton won the following two to claim the title. And AF won the year before that as well, so Cavemen going for 3 appearances in the last 3 years, if they could punch their ticket in this one. Riverton's paths back to the state championship. They have to beat American Fork not one, but twice. Silverwolves lost that first game to Syracuse, as we discussed, but back-to-back wins against Westlake and Syracuse. And another losers bout battle have them in this position to still keep their season alive. This one fouled off into the bullpen. 2-0 the count early. This is our first of 2 semifinals games today, with Sky Ridge taking on Mountain Ridge at 7 o'clock. Slow rolling chopper fielded cleanly by Schoonover, who makes the throw to first in time to retire Allred for the first out of the day. That'll bring up Zach Edwards now. Jared Ingersoll, head coach of American Fork. Riverton led by head coach Jay Applegate, 2 of the most accomplished coaches. They've combined for 45 years, years of experience. Over 350 wins for each coaches, 365 for Ingersoll, 356 for Applegate, 220 career losses for Applegate, 173 for Ingersoll. 2 of the state's longest tenured and most successful coaches. 1-0 the count. This American Fork team that was 30-1 2 seasons ago when they won the state championship in back-to-back victories against Pleasant Grove. They faced Riverton that year as well, beating the Silverwolves 4-3. And then, as we discussed last year, the super competitive bout between the two. 2-1 the count for Edwards. Line drive lifted over the head of a leaping Walker. And it's going to be a double. Wow! Look at the speed from Edwards. He's on second. One of the interesting stories in this one is American Fork on to their third starting pitcher of the season. As for Riverton, on to their fourth, at least, if not further down the lineup. Drake Pearsall now due up. Riverton finished the season the 6th seed after being last year's state champions. They faced the winner of Lone Peak and Weber. It was Lone Peak. They beat them 11-10 the first game, 14-4 the second, to advance and take on Syracuse in a nail-biting 7-6 contest in which the Titans were able to hold on for the late victory. Riverton was ready to go in the losers bracket, though, and after a hard-fought game against Westlake, emerged victorious 4-3. 1-0 the count here for Pearsall. Pearsall pops one Deep into center field, going back and giving chase is Mascaro. Mascaro does a great job tracking it, gives it everything he's got on the throw, and they decide to hold him up at second, him being Edwards. So 2 outs now. But Pearsall, even though he was retired, able to advance Edwards over to third with Alex Vernon due up in a moment. As for how American Fork reached this position, the Cavemen, the 7th seed, took on Region 4 for both Corner Canyon in the Super Regionals. They beat the Chargers 2-1 the first game and then 10-0 in the following one. They then beat Westlake 9-0 before beating Syracuse 9-3, Westlake 9-3, and then they also beat Syracuse 9-3 in similar fashion. One-0 the count, 2 outs. Vernon takes strike one. Riverton looking for the early score. Low delivery, but Edwards decided not to come. It probably would have been thrown out as if where it was trapped at. 2-1 the count. Vernon resets. Count now 2-2. Dylan Zulo on deck. Vernon 3-1 in the count. Vernon with a vicious hit into right field. It's a high flyer. And tracking it down while falling was Davin Pace, the Caveman right fielder, with a great grab to get his team out of it. Scoreless through the first. Both teams were set for second inning action here at UCCU Ballpark. Normally the home to Utah Valley University, but this week home to the 6A State Baseball Championship Tournament. It'll be Dax Watts, Cooper Jones, and Jet Walker all due up for American Fork. American Fork in their most recent bout against Syracuse. As I mentioned, the 9-3 victory. The Cavemen's offense has been sharp. This ball launched into left field. Hicks tracks into the glove and makes the grab. So Watts is retired. Swinging on the first pitch. Riverton, the 6th seed, comes into this one 19-6 on the season. 12-3 in region play. They've scored 226 runs and allowed 111. This ball will drop into right field. Jones going to round second. They're going to bring Jones over to third. Jones going to hold up at third. Wow. Booming triple for Cooper Jones. Hanson and Moody both forced to give chase over in right field. There are Silverwolves occupying the bullpen, but no one actively warming up. Walker drives one into left field, and it just lands in foul territory. That one was incredibly close. Oh, 1 the count. As Walker forced to come back and reset. 1 out in the inning, a runner on third, and for that booming shot from Jones. Walker fouls it back into the net. Down to our final 4 teams in 6A. We'll have the Sentinels taking on the Falcons later tonight. And the outcome of these 2 games determines if we'll be back up here tomorrow or if the winners will get a day off, and then they'll be in action on Friday. Walker 0-2 the count. 1 out. Jones on third after we destroyed that triple into right center field. Outside delivery for ball 1 that time by Remington Robbins. That strike just off the mark. Silverwolves fans let out their frustration. Two the count. Walker goes down swinging. First K of the day for Remington Robbins. Coleman Perry now due up, trying to bring in what would be the first run of the day for American Fork. Jones trying to come in, wants to avoid being stranded on third. American Fork 16-10 on the season overall, 7-8 the win-loss record differential. 191 runs scored, 130 allowed for the Cavemen. Low delivery on ball 2. Three-0 the count. Strike 1 delivered. Perry chops it into foul territory. Full count, 2 outs. And the potential leading run on third. Coleman Perry pierces one high, but it's a line drive directly to Zulo, who makes the grab. And just like that, top of the second comes to an end. We still remain tied at 0. Still tied up at 0 as we begin the bottom of the second. Dylan Zulo, who just made that final out, now due up, followed by Carson Moody and Remington Robbins. Zulo in the previous game against Syracuse flew out to left field, was retired at third after grounding out. Was hit by a pitch, or grounded out to third, was hit by a pitch, and then flew out to center field. Rojas off the mark on the delivery. Told you about those tight wins for Riverton, but they've also had some incredibly contested battles against Syracuse throughout this tournament. Looking back on the first one, Riverton pulled ahead 2-1 in the bottom of the second. It would be scoreless until the top of the sixth, in which Syracuse added 5 runs. They would add 1 more as the extra insurance. In the top of the seventh, beating Riverton 7-6, but the Silverwolves had just tied the game up, just trailed by 1 after scoring 3 runs in the bottom of the seventh. And they had bases loaded when they struck out. So the Titans barely held on against the Silverwolves, and the Silverwolves were down to their last life and responded with a strong performance. So we get the 2-2 delivery there to even the count. Again, Riverton took on Westlake then in the first game for them in the losers bracket. Riverton led 3-2 after 3 innings. They would score one more run in the 5th, as would Westlake. But that run they scored in the very first inning ended up being the difference, allowing them to take the 4-3 lead. Full count, first batter in the bottom of the second. Rojas trying to claim his first strikeout. And he'll foul it off the bat to stay alive. Zulo ready to do the 3-2 pitch once again. That's a low delivery. So Dylan Zulo walks over to first. Second Silverwolf to reach base in this one. So Moody due up. Moody, in our previous game, as he fouls this one off, was the hero for the Silverwolves as they defeated Syracuse 5-4. Moody, in his first at-bat, struck out, second, grounded out to third, but then smashed an inside the park home run. And not just drove in himself, but brought in a teammate on a booming hit into right field. 0-1 the count off the foul off. Then Moody in his final at-bat of the game with 2 runners on base launched a line drive into right field for the walk-off 5-4 victory for the Silverwolves, who trailed the Syracuse Titans for most of that game but had an incredible comeback late. Moody 0-1 the count still. Zulo at first. Moody allows the delivery to pass him by. One and one the count. Rojas still trying to hunt for his first strikeout of the day. He's now at 1-2 after forcing Moody to foul off. And Moody looking to continue the success off those previous 2 at-bats I highlighted. Pickoff attempt over to first, once again unsuccessful. Coleman Perry nearly thought he got him there. No outs in the inning. Runner on first after the walk allowed by Rojas. Looking to claim the K against Moody here. Ground ball deflects off the mound. It's tracked down, but the throw not able to make it over to first in time. So Moody safe on base once again. Zulo to second, Moody at first, still no outs in the inning with Remington Robbins now due up. Normally the left fielder, in this one the pitcher. I mentioned American Fork took on Westlake in the first game. The Cavemen, it was a pretty close game overall. In fact, Westlake scored first. They led 1-0 after 3 innings, but then American Fork added 2 runs in the bottom of the 4th, 1 in the bottom of the 5th, and 6 in the bottom of the 6th to claim the 9-3 advantage. They toppled Syracuse last night by the same score, 9-3. off another strong offensive performance. The bunt laid perfectly. Thrown out at first is Robbins. But with just one out, 2 runners in scoring position now with Zulo to third, Moody to second. That'll bring up Cooper Hansen. Hansen in the previous game didn't reach base in his first appearance. Successfully placed a bunt right in the middle of the field to reach first and then flew out to center field. Robbins coming off a very successful game, may have been retired there, but reached base in all 3 of his plate appearances. Off 2 well-hit grounders right up the gut and a slow roller he placed. So Robinson retired for the first time today. The Cavemen with their backs against the walls early. Trying to knock out the team that defeated them in last year's state championship. Hansen. Swing and a miss. 0-2 the count. The Silverwolves looking to score here early. Even though Riverton ended up in the loser's bracket because they lost before American Fork, they remain the lower seed. They remain the home team due to the lower seeding they have. The 6th-seeded Silverwolves versus the 7th-seeded Cavemen. 0-2 the count. Hansen. That's the outside delivery through. 1-2 the count. Zulo over on third. Moody at second. Robinson just retired after the bunt. Easton Hicks on deck. In the first game of play for the Silverwolf, Hicks drove in the first 2 runs of the game against Syracuse back on Monday night. But it's Hansen here with a chance to be an early hero. He's able to fight his way back in the count, 2-2. Rojas back-to-back off-target deliveries. Two the count. 1 out, 2 runners on base. Rojas. Hansen fouls it off to stay alive in the count. Hansen looking for a big hit. Didn't get it in the previous game. Only reached base once via that bunt. Trying to start the scoring for the Silverwolves. It's a slow rolling grounder. Fielded cleanly. On the move, making the throw is Walker. Over to first. They're able to retire Hansen, but the sacrifice single as Zulo came home. Another runner still strongly in scoring position as Moody was able to make it over to third. So Easton Hicks now due up. Hicks didn't bat in the previous game, but did hit. Hicks in the previous game against Westlake grounded into a double play. Struck out, and then that chopper. But as I mentioned in the first one, drove in 2 runs with a well-placed ball into right field. 2 outs here, but the Silverwolves on the board early. 1-1 the count. Hicks drives one. It takes a bounce, fielded cleanly by Walker. The throw on time. So 1-0, the Silverwolves with the early advantage as we shift into the third on KSL Sports Rewind. Silverwolves take the early 1-0 lead after 2 as we're set for third inning action here. McGavin Schoonover. American Fork, just one hit through 2 innings so far. In American Fork's second game after beating Westlake, they took on Syracuse. Last night's winter bracket action. This one will land fair in right field. Schoonover, unable to make it over to second in time, but a quick base hit for him. Davin Pace, the right fielder, now due up. But looking back on Syracuse's bout, the 15-seed Titans took on American Fork. American Fork scored 5 runs in the bottom of the first. They would add 3 more in the bottom of the fourth and 1 more in the bottom of the sixth for the 9-3 advantage. They had 8 hits, out-hit the Titans 8-4 in that one. Riverton also played Syracuse. Not just in the first game of the tournament, but the two foes would meet again in a 5-4 bout. Tag out opportunity over to first, unsuccessful. In the second bout between Riverton and Syracuse in bracket play, we were scoreless for the first 2 innings. Then Syracuse scored 2 in the top of the third. The Titans would add 2 more runs in the following innings for a 4-0 advantage. But then Riverton got rolling. Bunt attempt laid down the first base line, called for, and trying to make the throw over to first. Did he get it in time? He did not! Wow! Look at the wheels from Davin Pace with the successful bunt attempt. So 2 on base now for American Fork as they're looking to tie this one up. No outs. I'll turn it back to the top of the order where C.J. Mascaro is ready. Flew out to third the last time we saw him. Mascaro in the previous game started off in explosive fashion for the Cavemen with a huge home run he cracked into right field. He also flew out into left field, but then boomed a double into left field in his following at-bat and a walk. Mascaro's had a hot back this tournament. He sends one high into center field. That is collected for the first out of the inning. Then I bring up Ryder Robinson. Robinson on the season. Robinson in his previous game, the designated hitter. With a walk, grounded out to second. Flew out to center, but drove in a run in American Fork's bout yesterday with Syracuse. And also flew out to right center field. But as I mentioned in that Syracuse-Riverton game, it was a 4-0 advantage for the Titans, trying to once again upset the 6th-seeded Silverwolves. Syracuse the 14th seed, but they had already knocked off Fremont and looked incredibly strong all tournament. Riverton got hot, though, in the bottom of the 5th and 6th, scoring 2 runs apiece to tie the game, and then 1 run all they needed in the bottom of the 7th. That was the run that Moody brought in on the walk-off slam. Over into shallow right field where he placed it to equal the 5-4 victory as Silverwolves get revenge against the Titans and advance. 0-1 the count, 2 runners on, 1 out after that one. Robinson was retired on a line drive. He blasted up to Remington Robbins in his previous at-bat. Chopper fielded cleanly, and they'll decide to take out the furthest advancing runner. So Robinson safe on first. That one fielded by Mazingo on second. And on the fielder's choice, he decided to take care of Schoonover. So Pace to second, Robinson to first. 2 outs now in the inning. Rojas now due up. Last time we saw Rojas, the pitcher in this game, rocketed out after into right field as he flew out to end the first inning. Now back up to bat in the third. Rojas grounds one. More action the way of Mazingo, who takes the easy out at second on the fielder's choice. And once again, the Silverwolves defense responding, giving up no runs. They're back on the offensive when we return for the bottom of the third. Up next at UCCU Ballpark. We're set to resume play in the bottom of the third here with American Fork and Riverton battling it out. Mentioned the earlier meeting between the two teams this season with Caden Allred due up here. In that one, American Fork scored 3 runs in the bottom of the first. Riverton would add 4 in the top of the third and had a few more runs in the fourth and the fifth inning to take a comfortable 7-3 lead. But then the Cavemen got cooking. 5 runs in the bottom of the fifth, 7 runs in the bottom of the sixth, and 2 in the bottom of the seventh to claim the 17-9 victory off 17 hits against the Silverwolves. But that back on March 30th, so these two teams completely different. Caden Allred due back up, 1-0 the count. Last time we saw him, he grounded out to third. Earlier today, in his first at-bat, flew out to center field. Then had a well-hit grounder right up the middle. Also flew out to center field in his final 2 at-bats in that contest. Reached base twice in the game against Westlake and in the first game against Syracuse. Allred was retired twice, but did rocket a ball into right field for his first base appearance. 2-1 the count. 1-0, the 6th-seeded Silverwolves lead it over the 7th-seeded American Fork Cavemen. Outside delivery for ball 3. Allred looking to head over to first via the walk. Allred grounds one, and a diving Schoonover not able to get to it. So Allred with a booming base hit down to third. Last season, American Fork was 25-8. They faced off against Riverton once again last season. The Silverwolves would claim the first regular season bout between the two teams. 5-1. It was a low-scoring back-and-forth battle in which the Silverwolves scored 4 runs in the top of the 6th to claim the advantage. So we're going to see a pinch runner go to first in place of Allred. And it's going to be McCade Oritz, who pitched a little bit earlier today, the true freshman. So Ortiz over to first. American Fork trying to get out of the inning. No outs with a runner on first. This ball launched back into left field deep. It takes a bounce before it reaches the fence. And as it bounced up and hit the fence, the top of the fence that is, it'll be a ground rule double. So Edwards wasting no time. He had the first hit of the day on the line drive into left field that he turned into a double. And this time, it's the ground rule double. So 2 runners firmly in scoring position now on second and third with Ortiz over at third. Persall now due up. Edwards in the earlier action today didn't have nearly the same momentum. He did reach base in his first plate appearance after launching one in the left field. Also had a walk in his next at-bat, but then was retired in the following 2. Off to a 2-for-2 start here early. Persall, last time we saw him, flew out to center field. Swing and a miss from Pearsall. Rojas looking to get back on track. There are other pitchers currently warming up for American Fork. Pearsall fouls one back to go to 0-2 in the count. Edwards at second. Ortiz pinch running for Allred over on third. 1-0 the current advantage for the Silverwolves. We're going to see our first mound meeting here. American Fork talking things over. Figuring out how they want to play this one. Rojas hunting for his first K of the day. But in a position to give up some more runs with 2 in scoring position. As we said, last year's state championship game featured these two teams. In the first game, American Fork claimed the narrow 3-2 victory. The Cavemen scored 2 runs in the top of the second and 1 more in the top of the third. Riverton would add 2 runs in the bottom of the fourth, but would be scoreless the rest of the way, so the Cavemen escape with a 3-2 victory. Silverwolves, with their backs against the wall, would respond in a must-win game the next day. They scored 8 runs in the bottom of the second, 1 in the bottom of the third, and 7 in the bottom of the fourth, and 2 more in the bottom of the fifth. American Fork added 6 of their own in the top of the third, but it didn't matter, as Riverton able to claim a Game 2 victory 18-8 and force a third and final championship game. 0-2 the count, 2 runners on base. Bottom of the third, we'll see the late time called by Pearsall. She'll step back in. Rojas ready to deliver the pitch that could be his first K of the day. Pearsall fouls it off to stay alive in the count. Pearsall. Rojas, the delivery. Pearsall grounds it just into foul territory. No outs in the inning. So it'll be Pearsall, who's currently batting, Vernon on deck, and then Dylan Zulo, who's in the hole. Pearsall in the previous game did have a booming grounder. He hit him between first and second that he used to reach first base. Before that, popped out, grounded into a double play, and struck out. Looking to turn around his luck here. Pearsall goes down swinging. First strikeout of the day couldn't come at a much better time than that for Rojas. Then I bring up Alex Vernon, who flew out to right field the last time we saw him. And looks like could potential. We're just looking over right now. It looked like some of Cache Polson's equipment came undone. So Coach Applegate for the Silverwolves, as I mentioned, the state champions last year and the year before that, Jared Ingersoll and Riverton claimed victory. Speaking of Riverton's victory last year, with Vernon due up now, Riverton won it after scoring 6 runs in the top of the third, 2 more in the top of the seventh to solidify an 8-3 victory in the last game of the season to claim a state title. The bunt attempt laid down the first baseline. The tag out successful of Vernon by Rojas, but Vernon, the sacrifice bunt, a success as more runs score for the Silverwolves. Edwards now over to third. And I bring up Dylan Zulo. Vernon in the previous game didn't reach base in his first 2 appearances, but on the intentional walk did in his final at-bat in that game. 2-0 the Silverwolves advantage with 2 outs here, just 1 runner on now with Edwards. Zulo launches it into left field. It takes a bounce before it deflects off the wall. Zulo going to be able to turn this into a double, and he brought in the 3rd run of the day for Riverton, who's rocking the house early at UCCU Ballpark. Carson Moody now due up following the big-time shot from Zulo. So back-to-back RBIs has this as a 3-0 advantage for the Silverwolves over the Cavemen. Rojas looking to get back on track with this delivery after giving up 2 runs now. And that one squeezes away from Polson. A reminder, if American Fork were to lose this one, Riverton would be able to force another game tomorrow, which would be played at 4 o'clock here at UCCU Ballpark. Pulling back the bunt attempt was Moody. Moody, last time we saw him, ripped one off the pitcher's mound. We talked about the success he had in the previous game with the inside the park home run and the walk-off single. But overall in the tournament, Moody has been pretty strong in the first game. He also added a run late in the game, bringing in a run on a rocketing shot into right field. Moody pops this one up into foul territory. Two won the count, 2 outs in the bottom of the third. Moody in the first game against Syracuse, in the first game, the first and only game against Westlake. Grounded out, but then drove in 2 runs when he launched a ball into second field and also made it to first safely on a line drive. He directed down the third base line. 3-1 the count. Moody looking to reach base via the walk. Arguably the hottest hitter in the tournament so far. Moody chops it into foul territory to bring it to full count. Rojas looking to limit the damage to just 2 runs, but Zulo in prime position on third if Moody could get a hold of it in a moment. Full count delivery, Rojas to Moody. And Moody walks to first. Rojas had stepped off the mound, looked like he thought it was strike 3. Instead, it's just the second walk of the day he surrendered, and it puts Moody on first. Remington Robbins now due up. Last time we saw him, his bunt was fielded cleanly by Rojas, and he was retired on first. Polson steps out from behind home plate to make some calls. Robbins going to have to wait for his delivery. Reached base in the first game against Westlake, but outside of that, has obviously enjoyed a ton of success in the previous game, as I mentioned, with those couple grounders and the slow roller. 1-0 the count. Robbins looking for his 4th hit in his last 5 at-bats. Low delivery, on the money delivery, 1-1 the count. Zulo over to third, Moody on second. Remington Robbins, the pitcher, facing off against his fellow pitcher in this one, Josh Rojas. Robbins pops it up, called for, and making the grab coming off of center field was Mascaro. So that ends it. Silverwolves leave 2 stranded on base, but they score 2 runs to lead it 3-0 heading into the 4th. Fourth inning action set to get underway here at UCCU Ballpark. We appreciate all of you for joining us on KSL Sports Rewind. As a reminder, you can not only catch all the 6A tournament action here, but the 5A action with Dusty Lister having you covered down at BYU. We also have the soccer and lacrosse championships currently underway. KSL Sports has you covered for the high school playoffs. Dax Watts, Cooper Jones, and Jet Walker all due up as American Fork currently trails Riverton 3-0 here early. American Fork was 30-1 back in the 2021 season. Their only loss came against Pleasant Grove, and they still won the series against the Vikings not once but basically twice, as they would once again encounter Pleasant Grove in the championship game. Watts rips one high in the air, and it's retired. Watts in the previous game reached base in 3 of his 4 at-bats, 3 of his 4 plate appearances, 2 of those being walks and a chopper. He reached safely on first, but he's been retired twice in the left field early. Jones now due up. Last time we saw him, he rocketed one into right center field, and he turned it into a triple. One of the rare triples we've seen this week so far. Jones in the previous game drove in the first run for American Fork versus Syracuse after he launched one into center field, then struck out, drove in another run in his 3rd at-bat on a big-time hit in to left field. He fouls this one off and was also safe at first when he boomed a ball to second. Or excuse me, he was actually retired to second. This one lands fair. Jones already with 1 triple today. It's going to roll to the very corner of the stadium, and they're going to hold Jones up at second. Able to quickly get to that one was Moody in right field. But Jones, he's got a triple earlier, and now with a double. That one landed perfectly down the first base line. And they'll bring up Jet Walker, who struck out the last time we saw him. Walker walked in yesterday's game in 2 of his 4 appearances, was also hit by a pitch and flew out to center field. Walker yet to have a major hit in the tournament, in bracket play at least. He fouled out in his first at-bat in the first game against Westlake, then a strikeout and a walk. It's interesting to look back. As we said, American Fork was really dominant against Westlake in that 9-3 victory. Riverton barely bested them 4-3, but so far here, Riverton, the leading power early on. 1-0, 1 out. Jones at second with Walker, who's due for a big hit. Fouls this one off. They'll go to 1-1 in the count. Mentioned American Fork State Championship. They claimed the first game against Pleasant Grove 9-6 in a narrow bout. And the second, they won it 8-0 off a dominant defensive performance in which they scored 5 in the bottom of the second. So American Fork State champions 2 years ago. Would love to reach that mark once again. Fly ball sails. Moody grabs it. Tag-up opportunity. Jones thought about going for it, but wisely turns back off the quick delivery from Moody. So Walker flies out to right field, and now 2 outs. Coleman Perry now due up. Last time we saw him, he was retired on a line drive. He launched second. Four hits now for American Fork, 5 for Riverton, but the Cavemen yet to bring in any of those runs. They're looking to change that here. Ball's fouled off back into the cover here at UCCU Ballpark. Two outs, 0-1 the count off that foul off. And speaking of foul offs, another fouled off by Perry. Perry in yesterday's action against Syracuse walked in a run in his first at-bat, then crushed one into center field in 2 consecutive bats, the second of which was a sacrifice fly, but it drove in a run. And then he reached third on a fielder's choice. Reached first on a fielder's choice. He directed to third. 0-2 the count. Robbins looking to get Riverton out of it. Won't come on the outside delivery there. Trying to steal third and tagged out was Jones. Allred was ready for it and rifled it over to Pearsall at third to retire Jones on the attempted steal. So bottom of the fourth up next. Riverton getting it done defensively, and they still lead 3-0 on KSL Sports Rewind.
Okay. Okay.
Riverton looking to extend their 3-0 advantage they currently hold over American Fork. American Fork has gone in a new direction with Cortland Taylor taking over for Rojas. The bunt attempt pulled back. It's Cooper Hansen, Easton Hicks, and then we're back to the top of the order. Facing off against Cortland Taylor, the junior. Oh, 0-2 the count. See more pitchers getting warm for American Fork. So Rojas' day is done after surrendering those 3 runs and 5 hits. 1-2 the count currently for Taylor, facing off against Hansen. Hansen lifts it high into center field, and Mascaro makes a grab on it. Last time we saw Hansen, he was retired on a grounded out to short, but did bring in a run. Now due up is Easton Hicks. Hicks didn't bat in yesterday's action or earlier today, but has seen some stints on the mound. And as I mentioned, the 2 runs he brought in were big. The bunt attempt by Hicks sails down the first base line and just ends up going into foul territory. Waited forever as the speedy Hicks is forced to return to first. Hicks also a really exceptional football player, an elite running back and returner, receiver, really an elite athlete who can do it all on the football field, and we've seen him play all over the baseball field too. Allred in the top of the order on deck. High delivery, 1-1 the count. Hicks lifts it in the left field, giving chase, but unable to make a grab as it takes a bounce before it reaches the wall. Hicks rounding second, and it'll hold up there. Easton Hicks with a monster double. Watts was running after it, but just couldn't reach the wall in time. Second double of the day for the Silverwolves. 1 out in the inning. Cortland Taylor coming in place of Rojas. I do believe Rojas is back at the catcher spot now. But because of the padding he's wearing, difficult to see the number. Cortland Taylor delivers. Slightly high to even the count at 1-1. Reminder to stick around on KSL Sports for tonight at 7 o'clock. We'll have the Skyridge Falcons and the Mountain Ridge Sentinels. A battle between the 1 and 5 seed in our tournament. In a really interesting tournament event, we have the top seed still remaining Skyridge. 2nd, 3rd, and 4th didn't even make it to bracket play, but 5, 6, and 7 all still alive. Mascaro back on it, makes the grab. Hicks trying to tag up, but they'll turn him back on the quick delivery by Mascaro, showing off the cannon. As Allred retired for the second time today after he flew out to center field there. His previous at-bat had well-hit grounder that just squeezed past third base that allowed him to reach first, and then was retired, grounding out to third in his first at-bat. So 2 outs now. Hicks on second, looking to raise the advantage. (1-0) the count. Last time we saw Edwards, he blasted one into the fence for the ground rule double, and also launched a line drive. Edwards already with 2 doubles, so my mistake earlier when I said it was the 3rd double by Hicks. We've actually seen 4 so far. This chopper is going to end up in foul territory. But Edwards with 2 big booming hits. The line drive into left field, then most recently, the big blast into center field. That was a ground rule double. It actually bounced up and hit that top fence, which I was not aware is a ground rule double if it hits that. Probably would have been even more bases for the Silverwolves had that wall not been there. Or had it just been ruled a regular play. 1-1 the count. The pickoff attempt at Picks over on second, unsuccessful. The bout in the bottom of the 4th continues. 1-1 the count as Edwards, who's had the most success of any hitters in this one for the Silverwolves, looks to remain strong on the offensive. Taylor looking to pull ahead in the count. He'll do it after it's fouled off by Edwards. Rojas had 1 strikeout in his stint on the mound. Taylor with an opportunity to get his first one here. Edwards awaits the delivery. Have a quick time as he steps out and resets, checks the gloves, taps home plate, and we're ready for the 1-2 delivery. Edwards swings and misses, but it was a drop 3. They'll make sure the throw is safe over to first and leave Hicks stranded on base. Edwards retired on the drop 3 strikeout, so our score remains unchanged. It's still 3-0 Silverwolves, just 3 innings to go. You're watching KSL Sports Rewind. A shot in the 6A state championship game on the line as American Fork and Riverton, the battle between the 7th and 6th seeded teams in our tournament, continue to battle it out. Coleman Perry due up. Perry in the previous game drove in a run in his first at-bat via the walk. First time we saw him today, he was retired on a line drive to second. Robbins still in for the Silverwolves. And Perry's first at-bats he had in the game against Westlake, struck out in his first, came in as a relief batter late in that one. Ended up flying out to second as he was hitting for Dawson Adamson. 0-2 the count. Perry. The count goes to 1-2 off the ball delivery. A swing and a miss. Robbins with his second strikeout of the day as he retires Perry. That brings up Gavin Schoonover, the third baseman, who rocketed one into right field the last time we saw him. One 0 the count on the low delivery. The chopper fielded cleanly, but a long ways to go on the throw, and they won't be able to beat it. Schoonover safe on first. As Mazingo, a good job keeping it in the infield, but just couldn't make the throw across his body. It would have been an extremely difficult one in time. Dav and Pace now due up, then we'll turn it back over to the top of the order for the Cavemen. American Fork down to their final 8 outs now. Would have been 9, but Perry struck out, so down to their final 8 outs now. If they want to end this with one game and return to the state championship. As I mentioned, the bracket broke out really weird this year with Sky Ridge, the only of our top 4 seeded teams that is going to be in the semifinals. Copper Hills was eliminated by Bingham in back-to-back 5-3 losses. The Grizzlies were the 4 seed. This one lifted into foul territory. The Cypress Pirates, the 2 seed, and their explosive offense, they were 21-6 on the season and 17-1 in region play. But then they ran into Westlake and were taken out in back-to-back bouts, 4-3, as the Thunder took out the Pirates. Then Fremont, the 3-seeded Silverwolves, were taken care of by Syracuse. Fremont won the first game in that series over the 14th-seeded Titans 9-0, but would lose the next 2-1, and then 6-2 to be eliminated. But our 5, 6, and 7 seeds have all lived up to the billing. Mountain Ridge, American Fork, and Riverton all alive and well. Count 1-2. Ground balls breaking through. It's going to be a base hit for Pace. His second of the game after he successfully reached first and used his speed on the bunt. So 2 base runners on for the Cavemen, just 1 out. Body's currently chilling in the bullpen for Riverton. CJ Mascaro due up again. Flew out to third in his first plate appearance and then to center field in the most recent one. Mentioned the huge home run he had in yesterday's game. Also launched one, a double into left field. In the first game of our tournament, he had some more booming hits. He ripped a ground rule double into center field. Also crushed a line drive into right field. And then blasted in 2 runs in a booming shot into right field. Ground ball fielded cleanly here. They'll just make the safe throw over to first for the double play. So there was 1 out, and the Silverwolves once again take care of the Cavemen as Mascaro grounded into the double play. Bersall gets it done in the field, and the Silverwolves up in the bottom of the 5th when we return. Silverwolves back to bat in the bottom of the 5th. That was a crazy ending we just had to the top of the 5th for American Fork. After Schoonover reached base and Pace did as well. There were 2 runners on, 1 out after Perry struck out. And Mascaro, their top hitter in the tournament, due up, but he grounded out to third for the force out there and then was thrown out at first. So the huge double play with 2 runners on helped Riverton get out of the top of the 5th. Coleman Taylor still on the mound, facing off against Drake Persall, Alex Vernon, and Dylan Zulo, all due up here. 2-0 the advantage early for our bodies in the bullpen for American Fork, but currently just sitting, taking in the action. as we appreciate all of you for doing all week long on KSL Sports Rewind. Edwards on the drop. 3 was retired in the previous inning. He left 1 on base. Persall struck out the last time we saw him, and before that flew out to center field, but did advance a runner earlier. 2-1 the count. Taylor lost control of the curveball, way outside on the delivery there. Pearsall delivers strike 2. The outside delivery there. On the full count pitch, Persall heads to first via the walk. Now do it for the Silverwolves is Alex Vernon. Vernon, his first at-bat, flew out to right field. So a runner on first now, and Vernon's second at-bat. He laid a bunt down and was retired at first, but it did bring in a run for Riverton. They were scoreless in the bottom of the 4th. Looking to add some more runs in the bottom of the 5th. Silverwolves, if the current score were to hold, would only have to bat 2 more times, and then they would force an extra game tomorrow, and it would be winner, advance to the state championship game, loser, go home. One-0 the count. Vernon has had some big hits in our tournament today. Fouls this one off, especially in the second game where he drove in 2 runs and reached base in all 3 of his at-bats. He rocketed the first one into left field to bring in the first run, then at a walk, and then in a booming shot to center field also brought in a run. Vernon's had some huge hits today. Count currently 1-1. Vernon cracks it off the bounce, is fielded cleanly. Opportunity for the double play. They're able to get the out on second, but unable to beat Vernon over at first as he makes it there. Nice sliding grab made that time by Cooper Jones. As Jet Walker was able to come over and tap on second. Originally his foot left the bag for a moment, but he was able to get on top of it. So Vernon safe on first. But 1 out now, as they will send a pinch runner as Vernon exits the base paths. And taking his place is Talon Bruce. Or Bruce, the sophomore, over on first. Dylan Zulo now due up. Last time we saw him, drove an RBI in when he cracked a double into left field, then a walk in his previous plate appearance. That pitch escapes Rojas. It allows Bruce to easily head over to second. 1 out in the inning. Count 1-0 on the delivery there. 1-0 the count. Two-0 the count on the low delivery. Bottom of the fifth, still just one out. Persall on second. Three-0 the count. Cortland Taylor currently struggling. Trying to get back on track. He did a good job in the previous inning holding the Riverton Silverwolves scoreless, but right now trying to regain the same composure. The low delivery there, the walk for Zulo, his second of the game. And we are going to see action start to get going in the bullpen for American Fork. Cavemen got some work to do if they want to get back into this one and make sure they just have tomorrow off instead of having to play for their season in a winner-take-all state championship berth on the line game tomorrow. We are going to see a meeting on the mound take place. 2 runners on, no outs. Talon Bruce on second. Zulo over at first. Carson Moody, Remington Robbins, and Cooper Hansen all due up. Cortland Taylor, as I mentioned, just not able to capture the same momentum he had earlier, and he's about to face off against a very difficult hitter in Carson Moody. Just a reminder of what he did earlier. Had an inside the park home run in which he brought himself and a teammate, and then his RBI single in walk-off fashion helped the Silverwolves advance past the Syracuse Titans. This is our first of 2 semifinal games today. 7 o'clock, Sky Ridge taking on Mountain Ridge on KSL Sports. See if the Falcons can punch their ticket to the state championship, or if Mountain Ridge was able to win it in and it's a rematch in what was a thrilling game last night too, in which Mountain Ridge originally looked like they were going to be able to take it, but an incredible comeback by Sky Ridge in the bottom of the 7th lifted them to the advantage. Moody now in the batter's box. Allows the low ball one to pass. In our late night game, Mountain Ridge will be playing their 3rd game in a 24-hour span, considering we're on track today. Yesterday we got some behind due to some weather delays. Moody 2-0 the count. Takes ball 3. Taylor trying to sort things out, or else Coach Applegate and his team could be leading, have the bases loaded with a chance to lead by even more. And for American Fork, got to imagine Coach Jared Ingersoll will think about making a change. And a walk for Moody on 4 straight pitches from Taylor. So the bases are loaded. Remington Robbins, the pitcher coming up, but I believe he is going to be facing off against a new pitcher, as Coach Ingersoll will call over. So in the bottom of the 5th, with 3 base runners on for the Silverwolves and just 1 out, American Fork making a change. Hollenbach steps in on the mound for American Fork with the bases loaded up. For Riverton, over on 3rd is Talon Bruce. On 2nd is Drake Persall, Dylan Zulos. It's Moody. who's located on first now. So it's Moody on first, Vernon's pinch runner, and Bruce at second, and Pearsall over at third. Bases loaded, Moody up. Remington Robbins, the opposite pitcher, up to face off against Gabriel Hollenbach. Strike one delivered. American Fork trying to remain within striking distance with 2 innings to go in this game after we get the 2 outs here. This ball's lifted into foul territory. Oh, to the count. Robbins directs a line drive that breaks into the outfield, and it will bring in more than one. It's bringing in 2 Silverwolves. Zulo scores, as does Bruce. So Remington Robbins has made play after play on the pitching mound, shutting down American Fork's offense. They've had a couple hits, but they've been unable to score any runs. We're going to have a pinch runner come on in a moment. Going over to second for American Fork is going to be Ty Curtis. So it is now a 5-0 lead for the 6th-seeded Silverwolves over the Cavemen. Runners on first and second. This one lifted high in the left field, giving chase and making the grab out in left field that time is Dax Watts. So Cooper Hansen retired as soon as he stepped up. 2 outs now in the inning. Still 2 runners on. Hicks, last time we saw him, crushed a double into center field and before grounded out to short. Has to be careful with 2 outs. He'll take strike 1. 5-0 the difference. We talked about this American Fork offense, how explosive it can be. So still a lot of time for them to come back. They've scored as many as 6 runs in an inning. Doing so in either the 6th or 7th would still give them the lead. So down but not out currently. They'll check and say that Hicks did not go. 1-1 the count. One and one the count. Low delivery for ball 2. Hicks trying to keep the inning alive with still 2 base runners on. Curtis at first, Moody at second. Hicks hits one high into center field. Back on it, Mascaro able to make the grab. So that will do it for the bottom of the 5th. But 2 more runs poured on by the Silverwolves. 5-0 they lead it with 2 to play here at UCCU Ballpark. We are set for the 6th inning here on KSL Sports Rewind. It's the 6th-seeded Riverton Silverwolves currently leaded the 7th-seeded American Fork Cavemen. And American Fork is down to their final 6 outs if they want to extend this game and force Riverton to bat in the bottom of the 7th, or just go on to win it and make sure there's no game tomorrow. Once again, if they win American Fork, they are in the state championship game. If they lose, they will have to battle Riverton again tomorrow, and the winner goes on to play in the state championship game. Riverton defeated American Fork in the game last year to claim the championship. Ryder Robinson came in right away, and making the grab out in right field is Moody. He swung on the first pitch and is retired after it, so now down to their final 5 outs. Robinson hasn't been his day yet. He drilled a line drive to the pitcher, and he was retired by Remington Robinson, who's still out there for Lehigh. In the second at-bat, he made it safely to first on a fielder's choice, but his teammate was retired, the further advancing runner, and they just flew out to right field there. Josh Rojas due up. Originally the pitcher, and as I said, I believe the catcher. It's been difficult to tell because of the numbers on the padding if he is at the catcher spot, but he's been there all week, so I do believe he returned to his natural position. 0-1 the count on the delivery. Robinson continues to be sharp, Remington Robbins. Rojas grounded out to short to leave 2 on base the last time we saw him. Before that, flew out into right field. To the count. And a reminder, at 7 o'clock, the Falcons taking on the Sentinels. 1 versus 5. Skyridge, if they win, they're state championship bound. Mountain Ridge, if they win, they force a game tomorrow. That one would be up at 7. Rojas goes down swinging. 2 outs just as quickly as the inning started, basically. Just like that, the Cavemen down to their final 4 outs now. In this 5-0 advantage for the Riverton Silverwolves. Dax Watts due up. Watts in his 2 plate appearances today has flown out to left field in both of them. I mentioned what a good game it was yesterday between Mountain Ridge and Skyridge. Early on, Skyridge had the 2-0 lead. So we'll have a base hit here. Booming it out to the Wolverine logo is Dax Watts on a line drive as he settles in on first. Cooper Jones will be due up now. Jones got caught trying to steal third earlier on in this game, but has had 2 hits. His most recent one was a double after he crushed one down the first baseline, and he also boomed one into right center field in a triple in his first at-bat. Cavemen looking to mount the 2-route rally. But as I said, going back to that battle between Mountain Ridge and Skyridge, Skyridge led early 2-0. But Mountain Ridge would add 1 run in the 3rd and the 4th to tie things up heading into the 7th. And the Sentinels would pour on 3 runs and look like they had secured a spot in the winner's bracket and set themselves up nicely for a state championship. But Skyridge, 4 runs in the bottom of the 7th. This line drive will reach left field, so 2 runners on. As Jones with his 3rd base hit of the day. Jet Walker due up. A little bit of momentum from American Fork, but we've seen this before. American Fork actually out hitting Riverton 8-7 now, but the difference has been the pitching we've seen from the Silverwolves. This could be it as Coach Applegate makes his way up to the mound. Remington Robbins has been so sharp for most of the day. He obviously wants to stay out there, and at the moment may have one opportunity to do so. But as I mentioned in that game, Mountain Ridge and Skyridge due up for a second time. It was a great battle between the 2 last night. And in that 4th inning, and we saw the scoring get underway. For Skyridge, they were able to win it on the big hit from Dalton Young after a couple runs were driven in by Ty Evans and Chase Youngberg as well. But Young with the walk-off single to send the Falcons into the winner's bracket. Once again, 7 o'clock, the rematch tonight. The meeting on the mound concluded. Robbins still there. 2 runners on base, 2 outs. Walker flew out to right field the last time we saw him. Before that, struck out. He'll take strike 1. Robbins trying to close it out here. He's 4 outs away from the victory for the Silverwolves and forcing that game at 4 o'clock tomorrow. This ball lifted into left field, and the first run of the day is going to score for American Fork. Sliding in is Dax Watts. So Watts scores a run. Jones over to second. Walker with his first big base hit he's had in the tournament. Walker to first, Jones to second. And now due up. It's going to be Coleman Perry. Struck out the last time we saw him, but before that, he launched a line drive to second. Outside delivery, 1-0 the count. Two runners still on. The difference now 4 after that run was brought in. A line drive. The ball squeezes away and the bases will be loaded. It looked like Mazing was going to have it, but instead we have bases loaded. Cavemen not done yet. Gavin Schoonover now due up. Perry steps off in his place. The pinch runner for American Fork, as Coach Ingersoll has to love what he's seeing from his team right now, and the resilience is River Litke. So 3 runners on for American Fork. Still 2 outs as the rally is continued. Bases loaded. Schoonover has reached base both times today. One of those on a ball he rocketed into right field. And the other, he grounded, a hard hit grounder that was stopped by short, but the throw couldn't make it in time. Schoonover looking to continue his strong streak. The third baseman awaiting the delivery. And this ball will sail high. The throw over to first is pure. Dug out of the dirt that time by Vernon. And the Cavemen score 1, but Robbins comes up clutch. Along with the great play made in the field by Zulo, who collects it and gets it over to first. And just like that, we're to the bottom of the 6th with the difference 5-1 still for Riverton. Gabriel Holenbach, the junior, still settled on the mound for American Fork. Caden Allred due up for the 4th time today. He'll be followed by Zach Edwards and Drake Pearsall, looking to extend the 5-1 lead. Still crazy, American Fork out-hitting Riverton 10-7. Yeah, it's the Silverwolves with the 5-1 lead. Two-0 the count. Allred, last time we saw him, flew out to center field. Before that, blasted a grounder down the third baseline to reach base safely. And then grounded out to third. Speaking of balls, off the ground, there's one there. As the grounder for Allred allows him to advance to first. No one in the bullpen at the moment. for American Fork, because we're going to have the designated hitter coming up in Zach Edwards. Edwards was retired on the draft 3 strikeout the last time we saw him, but before that he's had a really strong day. Blasted one into center field on the ground rule double, and before that lifted a line drive into left field. Edwards going to have to wait for his first delivery as a pickoff attempt down to first, unsuccessful. Going to have a pinch runner come on in place of Allred. And heading over to first for Riverton is going to be McCade Ortiz, making his second appearance in the game. Edwards resetting, awaiting the delivery. As I mentioned, 2 monster hits for him in this one. Has a couple booming shots all week long. A chance to force a second game and keep the Silverwolves season alive at least by another day. First delivery, a strike by Hollenbach. Oh, 1 the count. Edwards pops it straight up in the air. It'll end up back by us in the UCCU ballpark booth. Edwards launches it into left field, back on it, and making a leaping grab against the wall was Watts in left field. Edwards nearly had a homer. Instead, he's retired in left field. Ortiz retreats back to first. 1 out in the inning now. Pearsall due back up. Last time we saw him, he walked. Before that, a strikeout, and he flew out to center field. Silverwolves looking to extend the lead. It's currently at 4 right now, but with the way American Fork has been hitting, they could still crawl back into this one. Pickoff attempt to first, unsuccessful. The only time they trailed American Fork was against Westlake early on when the Thunder held a 1-0 advantage, but then we talked about American Fork exploding and then scoring the 6 runs in the bottom of the 6th for the 9-3 victory. Another unsuccessful pickoff attempt. Then in that bout with the Cavemen, American Fork scored 5 runs in the bottom of the 1st and never looked back from there, never trailing in the game, on their way to a second consecutive 9-3 victory. American Fork with just 1 run scored so far, and that came back in the top of the 6th that we just witnessed. "1-0 the count, off the low delivery that time. 1 out. Ortiz at first. This line drive reaches over a leaping Walker. And it's going to be a base hit for Pearsall. It was Cooper Jones, actually, the second baseman, who nearly had it. It just was a few inches off his glove. And already flying on the contact was Ortiz, who makes it over to third. 2 runners on base, just 1 out. Hollenbach trying to close it out for the Cavemen. Alex Vernon due up. Last time we saw him, he grounded out to short. Before that, drove in a run on a sacrifice bunt. He has a chance to bring in another run here. He also flew out to right field in his first plate appearance. He's drove in runs all week long. 1-0 the count. The count. Hollenbach yet to acquire a strikeout. Pickoff attempt over to first, unsuccessful. As Persall dives over safely. Vernon comfortably ahead in the count. Waits the delivery from Hollenbach. Vernon allows another ball through. With just one out, the Cavemen in danger of loading the bases. Another low delivery. Strike one. So instead of the walk, 3-1 the count. Vernon fouls it back. Full count. Hollenbach with a chance for the strikeout and a much-needed one, as it would give American Fork 2 outs and get them one step closer to getting back on the offensive. Vernon awaiting the delivery. Short chopper, going to reach second. The out at first, they're able to get it, but not before Ortiz comes home. The lead back up to 6. Back up to 5 as it's a 6-1 advantage. Dylan Zulo due up after Vernon's sacrifice grounder. Just one runner on base now, 2 outs in this 6-1 game. Zulo's had a great day so far, 2 walks, and he launched a run in on a booming shot into left field. It was a double for himself, and he was driven in a few at-bats later. But 2 outs now, so Zulo's got to be careful. Combined 19 hits between these two teams, and we still got a 7th inning to go. Ducking on the delivery was Zulo. One-0 the count. Riverton added a run in the bottom of the second, and then 2 runs in the third and the fourth. And then you include the one they just scored, leading to the 6-1 advantage. Zulo falls to 1-1 in the count off the swing and miss. The high delivery for the second ball delivered by Hollenbach. He was close to his first strikeout on Vernon, but instead able to force him to ground out on the awkwardly hit ball. Zulo. That's another low ball pass in the dirt. 3-1 the count. Carson Moody on deck. One of the top hitters for the Silverwolves. Looking to really blow this one open if he gets an opportunity to bat. And on the low delivery, Zulo walking over for the third time today. American Fork has no one warming up in the bullpen at the moment. They may change that soon if Holenback is unable to figure it out. Looks like we might have another pinch runner or some change potentially coming. The Silverwolves are going to take Persall off of second, and in his place, put a pinch runner on in Connor Candelot, who got the start for them on the mound earlier today against Syracuse. Only pitched a few innings in that one before being swapped. Moody. This one's driven. It takes a bounce, but it's fielded cleanly. The throw over to first is good. Walker at short gets the Cavemen out of it, but another run scores, so the lead back up to 5. We shift into the top of the 7th. The Silverwolves 3 outs away from forcing a game tomorrow. The Cavemen going to need to score at least 5 runs to force Riverton to bat again and try to extend this one. How will it all play out? Stay with us on KSL Sports Rewind. The Silverwolves 3 outs away from forcing a game that would be played at 4 o'clock tomorrow between American Fork and Riverton once again. The winner of that game would go on to play the winner of the Sky Ridge Mountain Ridge mini-series that'll get underway a little bit later tonight. But either way, a state championship opportunity on the line for both these squads. Riverton in a good position to extend and force this into a 2-game series. The Cavemen, it's going to take a Herculean effort for them to get back into this one. They have 10 hits. It'll be Davin Pace, CJ Mascaro, and Ryder Robinson, a trio of strong hitters. Pace in this one reached first base safely in his first bunt in his at-bat. Then gashed a grounder into right field. I'm going to say he did not go in the second swing, so 1-1 the count. Remington Robbins came in to close out the previous game for Riverton earlier today against Syracuse and is trying to go the distance here. This one lifted into right field, giving chase, and it bounces fair. So coming up big is Pace with his third base hit of the day. Drops it perfectly in between first and right field. So Pace on base. CJ Mascaro now due up. Mascaro hasn't had the kind of game he hoped, but as I mentioned, he's had a number of huge hits in this one. He's brought in a ton of runs, had home runs himself, and this time he's heading to first after being hit by a pitch. Remington Robbins trying to remain on the mound. Coach Applegate's got a decision to make. Looks like at the moment he's going to stick with his left fielder. The wind picking up out in the field. Robinson, the designated hitter, flew out to right field the last time we saw him. Before that, grounded out to short. And his first at-bat was retired on a line drive. He drilled at Robbins. 0-1 the count. The Silverwolves looking to force an extra game. 6-1 the lead. This one fouled off. Our final game of the day between Sky Ridge and Mountain Ridge will get underway a little bit later than scheduled. Look for that one to get going around 7:10 to 7:15, but either way, it'll be 30 minutes after the conclusion of this one. We'll learn how the opposite semifinal game will play out. 0-2 the count. Ryder Robinson awaiting the delivery from Remington Robbins. 0-2 the count after the foul off there. Robbins hasn't secured a strikeout since the last time he faced off against Rojas. There are 2 pitchers warming up in the bullpen for Riverton. 0-2 the difference here. Robbins forces another one to be fouled off. So Robinson looking to get hit on Robbins. Count remains at 0-2. One, two, the count. Robbins looking for the K on Robinson with 2 runners on base. Can he get it here? Won't come on that outside delivery. Near pickoff attempt unsuccessful. As Mascaro able to dive back safely to first. It's Mascaro at first. Pace on second. 2-2 the count. Robbins in danger of loading the bases. Trying to retire the designated hitter with this upcoming delivery. And full count coming up. Ryder Robinson able to fight his way back in the count. He's looking to make a huge play for American Fork. They trail by 5 and need 5 runs to force Riverton to bat in the bottom of the 7th. The inside delivery. Another ball delivered. So the bases are loaded. Coach Applegate making his way out. This could very well be it for Robbins. It's been a great day for him overall. Just can't quite finish it off. So Remington Robbins with a strong performance. As his day is over, we may see him out in left field, but he heads in. Tell you about the new pitcher for Riverton when we come back on KSL Sports Rewind. McCade Ortiz, the freshman, taking over on the mound for the Riverton Silverwolves. They lead it by 5, 6-1, but no outs and the bases are loaded. It's Pace at third, Mascaro at second, and Robinson at first. With Josh Rojas, who's due for a big hit. Struck out the last time we saw him. Before that, grounded out to second, and then flew out into right field. Started this game on the mound, finishing it up behind home plate at catcher. And now a chance to extend it. Ortiz delivers a high ball 1. He pitched a little bit earlier today, but struggled. There are already other bodies currently warming up for Riverton as they try to seal the deal here and force that game tomorrow at 4 o'clock against American Fork again. Rojas rips it into left field high, and collecting it at the fence is Hicks. But it's going to allow a run to come in for the Cavemen. So Pace able to score on the sacrifice fly from Rojas. At first, that one looked like it had a chance to be gone. Sacrifice fly brings in a run. 1 out now in the inning. The difference now 4. Watts due up. Last time we saw him, he launched one into center field, trying to bring in some more runs for American Fork. Mascaro still at second. Robinson at first. Ortiz was rocked there, but able to make a play on it was Hicks in left field. Oh, 1 the count. The freshman looking to send the Silverwolves into a game tomorrow. Inside delivery evens the count at 1-1. Watts flew out to left field in his 2 prior plate appearances before the big blast he had in the center. He pitched yesterday against Syracuse. It did an exceptional job. The 1-1 delivery, Ortiz. It's lifted straight up in the air. Called for by Mosing, and he collects it. The Silverwolves 1 out away from making this a 2-game series. Cooper Jones has been the Cavemen's best hitter on the day. He rocketed one into right center field for a triple in his first plate appearance. Then destroyed one down the first base line for a double. And then on a line drive, reached base in his previous at-bat. Ortiz, the freshman, looking to retire him. This one's fouled off over our heads. Oh, 1 the count, still 2 runners on base. 6-2 the difference. Ortiz delivers a low ball. The count goes to 1-1. Ortiz forced Rojas to fly out to left field. And then Watts popped out to short. 1-1 delivery. Ortiz. Second straight ball delivery. The freshman trying to avoid loading the bases. Trying to close it out for the Silverwolves with other Riverton pitchers warming up at the moment if they're needed. American Fork is out-hit the Silverwolves 11-9, but they trail by 4. This ball launched into center field. Hansen makes the grab. And the Riverton Silverwolves, off a phenomenal finish from the freshman on the mound, get it done and claim the 6-2 victory over American Fork. So the 6th-seeded Silverwolves knock off the Cavemen. And because of that, we're playing another game tomorrow between these 2 teams. It'll be at 4 o'clock tomorrow. American Fork and Riverton doing it again. Part 2 in the rematch of last year's state championship game. 2 of the top programs in the state. We'll be going back at it when we return to UCCU Ballpark tomorrow for that 4 o'clock matchup. A reminder, we have one more game on hand tonight, and it'll be between the Skyridge Falcons, the top seed in our 6A tournament, and the 5th-seeded Mountain Ridge Sentinels. It'll get underway right around 7:15. So make sure you guys stay with us for that. But once again, your final in this one, Riverton, off an exceptional performance. It was Remington Robbins for most of the game, and then the freshman, McCade Ortiz, closes it out. Some big hits for the Silverwolves by Zulo. Vernon drove in a couple runs in this one too, as did Robbins on a line drive. A complete team performance, and they get the 6-2 win because of it. So the Silverwolves and Cavemen back at it tomorrow at 4 o'clock because of the victory that Riverton gets over American Fork 6-2 in this one. That'll do it. Thank you for listening to our broadcast on KSL Sports, and we'll be back with you in 30 minutes for our final game in Day 3 of bracket play from UCCU Ballpark.